This morning I was in the English office and one of my fellow teachers was like, "Are you excited today?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm nervous for him, I'm nervous for me." And she was like, "I know, end of an era." And I immediately burst into tears. This is an end of an era. That this capstone class truly has my heart. It is a rare thing for a high school teacher to be able to teach kids for 2, 3, 4 years. The fact that you trusted us, the Changemaker teachers, that first year when we were still in masks, when we didn't know quite what that year was going to look like, from the moment they came in, they have been special to us. They have more personality and community and connections with each other. They are kind of the most amazing team, and while we can be very sarcastic with each other and not always be on task, I've never seen a group that really does support each other more. And so I'm so excited to share with you their projects. We started this class by doing a class-wide capstone. They created a voter registration drive and kind of saw all of those parts. So their actual capstone projects really didn't start until the beginning of November when they did some research and they were really figuring out what it is that they wanted to present. And this is their final product. So in battling breaks of Thanksgiving and winter break and trying to do food drives, or we were also doing hawks for the holidays, I'm really so impressed with what everyone was able to do. So here is half of our capstone class today, and we'll start with Evan and Ryan.
Okay, so we did our project on food insecurity in Waltham. I'm Evan and Mr. Ryan.
So we're first going to talk about how we started the project and like why we came to doing the whole project itself. We're also going to talk about the steps we took to completing this goal, and we're going to reflect on how much we raised for our project and how it affected the community. We're also going to be talking about the ups and downs of our project, things that set us back and some things that pushed us forward. We're also going to wrap things up with if we had more time and what steps we could do if we had more time, and to end off with a thank you to the people that helped us during this project.
All right, so getting started. Basically, we chose to focus on food insecurity because it's something that affects Waltham. About 9% of Waltham's population is in poverty as of 2022, I believe. And then a greater number has food insecurities of some sort that keep them from being able to eat healthy meals, basically every meal. And then we wanted to help give to the community and give families a relief.
So the process was basically split into like 2 sections. The first section being the brainstorming planning, and the second part was actually going through with that plan and doing the project itself. We first started to look out to nonprofit organizations for a partnership, and we came across Healthy Waltham because they seemed fitting because they did the same thing that we're looking for, which is food insecurities. And after that, we had to find a way to endorse that. So I reached out to Mr. Wilder, the coach for the varsity basketball team, and we made a plan to set a food drive at that game so we can collect donations and canned food goods. Then after that, both games were over. We collected all the canned goods that we got, bring it home to donate to Healthy Waltham.
So the reflection, all in all, we received 71 individual cans, and then 8 other food items, like rice, and pasta, and sauce, and stuff like that. And then we also received $100 from donations from people who couldn't donate cans or who donated both. And the money was used to purchase more food that we donated to Healthy Waltham. And then basically the project impacted us by showing how poverty affects Waltham and people in it, and also the impact food organizations like Healthy Waltham have for the better of differences.
So some ups we had was actually getting a lot more donations than we thought we would, because our original goal was just 40 canned goods, but obviously we exceeded that, we doubled that. And the partnership with the basketball team was a major upside, because without their endorsement, we probably wouldn't have got as many cans as we got. Some of the downs was not being able to contact Healthy Waltham directly. We had to talk via email, and it was very hard because they wouldn't get back to us right away. So it would be on a time crunch, and it would be hard to, have something set in stone for the project. Then when we actually did the food drive, it started off very slow. We didn't get that many cans, but as soon as varsity ended, everyone started donating and bringing in stuff. Ooh.
All right, if we have more time, we would probably continue going to basketball games and doing more food item donation drives or something like that. Or also possibly finding another team to partner with to run food drives through, potentially the volleyball or baseball team or one of the other teams of Waltham High School.
All right, very big thank you to Mr. Wilder, because like I said, without him, we wouldn't get the endorsement, and it would just be so much harder to host a food drive without that endorsement. But another thank you to Healthy Waltham, just because they're a good non-profitable organization for hosting the food drive, and to everyone else that did donate food for the food drive.
Thank you for listening. That's it.
Also, another big thank you to Miss Perna. Even though she didn't want us to say anything, but she helped us get through, the stumbling part of our project.
So all the plan. Evan, can you hit the next one? And then people, if we want to grab some extra chairs out there, Max and Jose, if you want to grab some for our guests too.
My name is Bella, and this is my Capstone project, Caring for a Cause. So the reason why I decided to do this for my senior project is because of the class discussion we had with my AP, Dr. Lyons. We talked about some of the issues in the community and some potential project ideas. He also talked about his son Declan and how he's been in and out of the hospital for quite some time now. He mentioned how he knew some contacts at the Boston Children's Hospital. I thought it was a good idea to do something to make a positive impact on children as they're going through tough times. My initial thought for my project was to host a donation drive here at the high school as well as in the Waltham community to collect toys and games for the children at the Boston Children's Hospital. After some time, my teacher and I thought about how instead of a donation drive, I'd do a hands-on activity and get other people involved. I asked Dr. Lyons if he could share with me a contact from the Boston Children's Hospital to see if what I was thinking would be able to work. We had a conversation about my ideas for my project, and he gave me an email to a child life specialist at the Boston Children's Hospital. Unfortunately, they weren't able to accept handmade items, but we did find out that the Jimmy Fund does. For my final project, I decided to make fleece tie blankets of all different sizes for the children and teens at the Jimmy Fund Clinic. The Jimmy Fund is in Boston and benefits the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. I thought it was the perfect place to donate blankets, to hopefully make a positive impact on the kids. Since I am part of the fashion design class, I thought it was a great idea to get the fashion classes involved in making some blankets too. My mom and I went to Joann Fabrics and got enough fleece fabric to make 12 blankets. I brought them to school and led 3 of the fashion classes in teaching them how to make the blankets. We were able to finish all 12 the week before break, which was my goal. During Christmas break, I tried to think of some more ways to make more blankets. My mom and I came up with the idea of making flyers and hanging them up around her office. After some time, we raised $325 to purchase more fabric. After going back to Joann Fabrics and spending all of Christmas break making more blankets, I made a total of 37 blankets to donate to the Jimmy Fund. My initial goal was to create at least 10, so I'm very proud to exceed this goal. I faced a few challenges during this project. When I first contacted the child life specialist at the Boston Children's Hospital, I asked if they were able to accept handmade items. She said they weren't able to accept those items because of their infection control policy, which I understand. I then asked Dr. Lyons if he knew of any other organizations that could accept handmade items. He shared with me another child life specialist, but this time at the Jimmy Fund. Thankfully, she said they were able to accept handmade blankets soon after I got to work. If someone were to pick up my project from where I left off to continue, I would want them to fund more money to buy even more fabric. They could expand it to all over the world and research more organizations to donate to. They could also host a blanket making drive to get even more people involved. If I had a second chance, I wouldn't change it one bit. Even though there were some difficulties in figuring some things out, I think it ended up being a really successful project. Some people who have helped me with this project are Dr. Lyons, my fashion teachers Ms. Sweeter and Mr. Sullivan, fashion classmates, everyone at Holbo Banker in Waltham who has donated their money to help buy the fabric, as well as the child life specialist at the Jimmy Fund, Amanda, and of course, Ms. Perna. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Marley and that's Elian, and our Capstone project was a community blood drive. So our guiding question was, how can we make healthcare and hygiene more accessible in Waltham? And so this came about a bunch of different ways, and it was a bunch of different factors, but to sum it up, basically general interest in health, service, and providing life, because blood can be really important to somebody who's going through treatments, and I think it's really important and a really easy way to give back to the community and to people who are in need of it. So we all have plenty of blood and our body replenishes it, and people in the hospital who are in treatment need that blood, and donating is a really easy way to do it. Also through our community, hearing personally from Dr. Lyons how blood can really change somebody's treatment in the hospital was a huge driving factor in this as well. So just a bunch of factors that led us to that question.
A change of focus. We started off with a meeting with Dr. Lyons in our capstone room, and we heard how Declan was in the hospital, how he needed blood, and how his process was going with how he had a sickness and all those things. We wanted to do a vaccination drive, but because of there was just one a few months earlier, so there was everyone was vaccinated. And the hygiene drive was also an idea, but with all those things that we were planning and doing it, like calls for the holidays and all those things, we didn't have a planning to do it, so we ended up doing a nice blood drive that was fun doing.
So this was our process in organizing the blood drive. So this is a basic timeline. In the first week, it was really about getting a contact through the Red Cross to be able to host and finding out dates. So we received a contact from Miss Maddox and we emailed her. And then following week, we decided on a date and we decided on a location, and we decided in the cafe at Waltham High School. And 112 was literally this past Sunday. So we had our blood drive really recently, and we decided in the cafe because it would be really easy. Like the cafe is right when you enter the school, so it would have just been easy for people to walk in, donate blood, and get back out.
Easy to guide people.
Easy to guide people. And in between these weeks, it was a lot of logistics, and we also contacted local businesses about donating food for our blood drive because you need to stay hydrated, and they provide snacks at the blood drive. So none of them got back to us.
Unfortunately.
we made an attempt. We made an attempt. Elian has a few with some of these.
We have made some of them.
Okay, so, and then afterwards, it was a lot of advertisement. I don't know if you saw, it was on a lot of Facebook community posts, and then after that, this past weekend, the blood drive was held, and it was a lot of interesting stuff, and it was pretty fun.
One of our biggest challenges was the location. Like Marley said in the previous slide, we did it in our cafeteria. We planned it to do it also in the Waltham room, but then we heard, and I talked to someone that said that the Waltham room wasn't available for that day. So, and because the Waltham room is all the way in the 4th floor, so guiding people up all the way to the 4th floor will take some time, and the equipment, there's a bunch of equipment. So we decided the cafeteria then, it's a good place, the cafeteria. Our process, like also Marley said, we try to contact people to provide us some help, some organizations. None of them responded back, so that was a big challenge. So it's some challenges, they always come in fun. So that's the process of making a good thing. But there's always have to be a challenge so you can overcome it and be better.
So I think that we have some of our best moments here. So our first best moment was deciding on a date. I think this was like the first sign that we were really making progress in our project, and it felt like something was actually coming together. After when we were doing our advertising right before the blood drive, seeing the donor number go up was really gratifying because it meant that people were willing to give blood for a cause and, you know, help people in need. And then finally, the blood drive. Obviously, I was there all day on Sunday, and it was really nice to see people come in and give their blood.
What if we had more time? If we had more time, our blood drive would have been probably more bigger. We could have gotten more people. We would have organized better and probably pushed more people to give us some things to provide to the community. Probably would have a sanitation drive and maybe also a vaccination drive if we had more time to do and organize. We could have organized better and probably get more things done if we had more time.
So this is Elian, he donated blood on the day. It was just a win. And the blood drive facilitated the donation of around 40 pints of blood. And I saw online that 1 pint could save up to 3 lives. And this means that 120 lives could possibly be affected by this donation. So that's really awesome and cool. Donation center. You can donate blood every 56 days. So right now I got my thing. So like in the next 56 days, I can donate. Go to the Red Cross Center and donate more blood. It's good. Like we said before, our body keeps on giving us more blood. So giving out to the people who really needs it will be very good. So yeah, we have a donation center here at the Waltham at the Red Cross. Or maybe we could organize another blood drive. Who knows? Maybe not for Capstone. And this is just a big thank you to everybody who helped with our project. I have a huge list here because a lot of people contributed, but Caroline Fidel, who was our Red Cross representative, and just the general Red Cross, Ms. Perna for helping us with a lot of our project, Mr. Bragg's related administration, Ms. Maddox, Mr. Biddy and the custodial staff, they were there all day Sunday just hanging out with us and cleaning up after, so that really meant a lot. And then every single person in the community who helped donate blood or spread the word, they really made this project happen. So we really appreciate everything that all of these people did. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's see what's up next.
So my project was Dyslexic Accommodations for people in Waltham, Waltham High School specifically. So my leading question was like, how can I improve accommodations for students with dyslexia? Because not everyone gets them, and a lot of people have dyslexia and can't struggle with reading and doing assignments. So why I started again? Personal experience, I have been affected by lack of help in the classroom with my dyslexia. It's a very easy and simple things that people can do to kind of help. And I also know many people who have dyslexia and have been affected by this, so it was close to me. So I started off with some research. I interviewed some students to see what affected them and what helped them. And then I researched through colleges and stuff who've done studies what common accommodations are and their effectiveness. And then I also surveyed students and teachers. So the process In December, I contacted the IT department about Open Dyslexic, which is a free Chrome extension that changes the font on your computer into a dyslexic-friendly font. The week after that, it got approved, which was a huge win. And then I created a presentation for teachers. Any teacher could attend if they had a free period. And I held that presentation. It was basically on mainly stuff about font choice, font size, but as well as things like putting boxes around stuff in assignments that would just really help people with dyslexia read better and understand what they're reading. Some of the challenges were creating and holding the meetings. I kind of went back and forth on dates for a while. Advertising, I feel like I definitely could have done a better job advertising to more people as opposed to just sending out one email. And yeah, that all affected just getting people to show up. I didn't get as big of a audience as I was hoping. Successes, the meetings did go very well, and I got amazing feedback from teachers who went, and including some teachers who were actually like going to change like their practices to help dyslexic students. If I had more time, I'd create a wider scope of audience. So I would include students in this to have students be able to empower themselves and kind of like get help for themselves and like request these things from their teachers. So it's not all on the teachers to provide it. So yeah. Thank you, Ms. Briana, first and foremost. Really helped a lot. Mr. Davidson in the IT department helped me get the extension approved. All the volunteers for my interviews and surveys, and everyone who attended my presentation. Thank you so much.
My project went in Waltham. My initial questions were, how high is the rent in Waltham, and how can I help people with limited resources find affordable rent options? My parents bought a house with renters, and it was the first time being landlords, and it got me thinking, how much rent do people pay in Waltham? The process was I interviewed a person from the Watch City City. I learned that most people that applied or are current client to the Watch City City are mostly low-income families, and I had to make a website to have different tabs for each one. The biggest challenge for me was setting a time for a interview with the person from the Watch CDC. Getting a tab for the roommates website made me feel proud. The interview changed how I felt about my project, and while interviewing the person from the Watch CDC, I found out that most people that apply to them are low-income families. My final project is a website. I will share a flyer that has a QR code on it, which is that I just need to print them out. Some components on the website. It has tabs where you can look for roommates, stories from renters and landlords, and rent prices. It doesn't have any impact yet because I didn't share the flyers. If I had more time, I want someone to keep updating the website. I would have interviewed more people if I had a second chance. Probably contact any organizations similar to the Watch CDC. A big thank you to Evan, Elian, and Isabella from the Watch CDC.
Marina, do you have your presentation? Do you have your thing? Marina has props.
So this is my final presentation, and my project was about how to combat local pollution in our community with different mediums of art. I started on this journey because I have an interest in nature and the environment. My process was mostly about learning about the specific dimensions of the sculpture to make it much more realistic, and I also learned about trash in our community, mostly about how the different types of trash, and that most of the trash comes from packaging and is responsible for half of the waste in the globe. My project mostly changed to the actual design of the sculpture and when and where the trash was going to be collected for the sculpture. My final project is a sculpture representing a bird/hawk made out of trash that I had gathered in my house. My project had a big impact on myself because it showed how much trash can be thrown away in a couple of weeks in a household. The biggest challenge of this project was mostly the lack of time, because collecting enough trash for the sculpture was a big time consumption. One moment that changed how I felt about the project was when it finally started to look like a bird or hawk, and it was a good moment. Something that surprised me about the process was the amount of time it took to actually create the sculpture and the amount of resources it takes. Some next steps are that if anybody wants to pick up where I left off, would be for them to try to do the full body of the sculpture. And if I had a second chance, I would have made it much more smaller than it is now. And the community can be involved on organizing a cleanup in the Charles River that can be assembled into a different objects. I'd like to thank my family who really helped with the process of collecting trash, and thank you for listening.
All right, Brandon, you got your link?
Yeah, I think I shared it to you.
You shared it.
Am I ready, Randy?
Put it out. 1 second. Come on.
Alright, my name is Lara, and my project is about passing time at Waltham High. I'm now in my last year, and then one thing I've barely noticed is that kids are being late to their classes because of the limited time of passing time. We currently have 3 minutes, and I very believe that that is not enough time to get to class. And since with the new schedule and the new building, teachers are not allowed to stay in the same room, so they have to go to class, and they're also being late. Yeah. So with the 20 hours of class time I've had and a little bit of time at home, I have surveyed many teachers and researched different schools like Newton North and Newton South. And I saw that they were very different. Many teachers had different opinions about it, but they all agreed that we should increase the passing time in Waltham, and none of them said anything about decreasing the time either. Alright, so my research, and one of my questions, I asked them if there was enough, people thought there was enough time, passing time between classes. 66% said no. My next question was, do you think increasing the time would help students arrive to your class on time? 50.9% and 14% said yes, while there was a very small amount of people who said no. And then, like I said, we only have 3 minutes of passing time. I asked do you think if we should add more time? Many teachers said we should add 4 minutes, and many teachers said we should add 5 minutes. And then some teachers said to keep the time how it is. But notice how there's no teachers who believe that we should decrease the time. My ups and downs was probably creating the survey and having teachers take it, and the responses they said, which kind of very greatly helped me in saying what I was going to say. And I had roughly like 65 teachers take the survey. My downs was trying to find a permanent solution of how to increase the passing time, and then trying to use that data of what the teacher said to help me persuade the school board and the school committee. If I had more time, I would try to reach different school committees and people from schedule committees, so I can try to spread the word out and see if they can be open to my idea of increasing the time. I would like to thank Dr. Lyons, Mr. Braggs, and Mr. Admire, the APs, and all the teachers who took my survey. You guys have any questions?
Passing period in Newton North and Newton South.
So they have a 4-minute passing time, and they start classes at I believe 9:30, and they don't get out until 3:15. So what me and Mr. Admire talked about is that if I try to increase the time, I'd have to increase the time of the school day. And I don't think any of the students want to spend 30 more minutes in school. So we came to the conclusion that if we spend 5 minutes of every class just to clean up and basically help the teacher out with the classroom, and be able to get the students out more early, and the teacher wouldn't have to stay back and clean up after the kids.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Nothing? Oh.
All right, so to take Brandon's lead on questions, we stay to our time. We never stay to our time. I was like, what is this? You're good.